welcome back to the Forensic Detailing channel. Do not forget to hit the subscribe and the bell. Today we're going to do a review of all of the GYEON microfiber applicators or block applicators and cloths, microfiber cloths or towels, you know, and their drying towels, which I believe this is virtually the full GYEON range, give or take the odd thing. And we're also going to talk about what type of towels generally, we can use these as examples, you should use for which functions. So it should be very useful. Okay, now I want to talk about applicators first of all. And one important thing, all of this microfiber is Korean made. So you have most of this stuff comes from either China or Korea. And the Korea is the good stuff, but usually a little bit more expensive. Okay, there's still some good stuff in China as well. I've got a few Chinese towels, so don't get me wrong, but that's the general rule. Right, first off, ceramic applicators. GYEON do this option here where you have a very stiff kind of rubbery block that's backed with foam underneath. Okay, now these blocks cost around £1.50 each, but you get with them, you can buy these packs of suede microfiber. It's called suede microfiber because it's like suede. And they cost £4.95 for 10. So that's approximately 50p each. So really you could do an application for £2 with the block and with the cloth, but each subsequent application costs 50p because every time you put ceramic resin in here, it's going to dry into the cloth. So really once you've used it, it's kind of game over. So this is the affordable way to do it. One observation about this particular block is they don't have slots in the side to tuck the microfiber in. I don't know if GYEON have subsequently changed this because these blocks are very, very old. Even if they don't, you can put a little bit of tape over the top of them or just pinch them in your hand. Okay, so that's the way you go to be cost efficient. Now here we have the new kit on the block, or the new block on the kit. I haven't seen these before until very recently. These are sponge applicators wrapped in that looks like a pearl weave. Yeah, like a pearl weave on one side and then a suede on the other side. But I believe, well maybe not, that's got plastic inside it. I don't think that's got plastic inside it from what I can feel. But if I'm wrong on that, that's my apologies. But these cost £2.50 each. So if you're using it to apply ceramic, which I've used, this one has been used for that, it is hard to tell, then in theory your ceramic is going to dry in there after you've done a car, and in theory you're not supposed to reuse them, so your cost would be £2.50 each. Although I'm not going to throw this away. I'll find a use for it, even if I'm not supposed to use it on paintwork, or I might redo my test because it feels okay. I'm sure I can apply some. I'm going to get my money's worth. I'm going to use it again for something. Now, next up, guys, you have these ones. Now, these, you can definitely hear there's plastic and feel there's plastic inside these. And that's supposed to stop the ceramic going too deep into the sponge, so you're not wasting product. They're also stamp branded. Are these stamp branded? No, they're not. So this also has the GYEON brand on it. Again, suede on one side, suede microfiber, and what looks like the kind of pearl weave on the other side. Now, these cost, you can buy a pack of them for £10 for 41. No, 41 for £10. No, yeah, no, £41 for 10, which is £4.10 each. Come on, brain. Now, these are absolutely phenomenal. They really are. You can see I've used this one as well. So it's been washed, but there's definitely material in there. So it does stay in there. You can't get it all out. That's been used as well. And this one hasn't been used. Again, I don't want to throw these away. So can I use them for tyre dressings afterwards? Can I use them for cleaning out wheel arches or cleaning wheels on the other side where the wheels are a bit less sensitive? You know, I don't know. But I will be figuring out a relegation job for these. So we can see basically, guys, you're going up for 50p and, you know, a use. Up to £2.50, up to £4.10, next to these GYEON applicators, which are, again, really, I think, primarily for ceramics. This time you can get your fingers in there. Maybe you could probably even get 3 fingers in there. Forgive dodgy camera work. And these are all soft and they contour over whatever you're doing. So if you're trying to put a ceramic around a spoke of an alloy, you know, this might be your option. Although you can do that with this one as well. So these two smaller ones are probably your alloy options, or you might just prefer these. I know some guys prefer these. I don't think there's any plastic in them to stop anything going through, but you know, they still work. These cost £9.50 for two. So £4.25 per application. You can obviously use probably both sides. The bottom side's got the cushioning of the foam. That fit just feels like microfiber. So these are your applicator choices, okay? Now, if I'm having my car coated and I know the person that's doing it is using all these, especially if they're using these, that sits really well with me. What wouldn't sit well with me is using some, you know, dirty Chinese thing. So you basically know you're going to get, these are top drawer. You are going to pay for them though, guys. But the good news is, if you don't, you can use these block applicators. What's the disadvantage with these block applicators? Or these wouldn't need to exist. They don't contour quite as well. When I just prefer, I used these the other day, I just preferred them, but if cost is a problem, and it might be, this would be the way to go. But, you know, the block is heavier, so you can't form it to the panel if you get like curves so much, but it's not much of a problem. It's just a feeling thing, isn't it? Anyway, that's the applicators. Okay, could you use these to apply other things? Yeah, absolutely. Liquid waxes, you know, would go on really nicely on that suede. Spray sealants, you could use these little mitts for. You could use these for. You wouldn't. I don't think you use these for paste waxes. You'd use a sponge, probably a sponge applicator for paste waxes. I think GYEON give you a sponge applicator with their wax. Right, let's move on to the next things now. We're going to look at towels. Now, they do different sizes in their towels, and I've just bought primarily the smallest in all of these, I believe, and then the biggest in their drying towel. So correct me if I'm wrong on this as well, guys, because I only did limited research. So the smallest I could find with their waffle towel was 40 by 60. And this towel was £7.50, which is expensive. But it's like a dishcloth, I guess. It's a sort of dishcloth size, if you get me. I mean, the quality of it is absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. Really is. Now, what do you use waffle weaves for, guys? Well, they absorb water quite well, although they're quite thin and they don't tend to sort of sit down on the panel as well as other things we'll talk about later for drying. So they've gone out of fashion for drying. I tend to use waffle weaves for glass. You could use waffle weaves for cleaning leather as well, because they're not going to really stick and pull on the surface and pull fibres. But the main thing nowadays, I think, is glass, because you can work the surface of this. It'll absorb any grease on there, and you're not going to leave any material down on the surface of the glass. Another thing really is, I don't know why, there'll be a reason for everything, but I like 40 by 40, so I can do the four-way fold and keep track of my sides, as I talked about. There is a reason. There's a reason it will be 40 by 60, or maybe there is a 40 by 40, I don't know. But if it was a 40 by 40, you'd be able to get the price down as well, because £7.50 is quite expensive. Okay, next up, have I missed any other things? So this would be used for drying, absorbing water, doing glass, maybe wiping over leather. You can use them for wiping things down, but the lack, like in your cockpit, you know, and stuff like that, the lack of a nap means they're not soft on the surface and as safe as something, you know, like something with a softer pile on it. So, you know, glass, it doesn't matter because it's rock hard. It's rock hard. Right, next, the GYEON bald wipe, okay? You might be having a go at my hair. They called it the bald wipe, just for me. 40 by 40, I'm joking. 40 by 40, perfect size, first of all. So this is the size I like to use, so I can fold it 4 ways. Their towels are stamp branded as well, which is nice. There's no labels on it. Edgeless cut rather than stitching in there as well, which is good. Those things are done so that they're more paintwork friendly towels, you know. So this is a more paintwork friendly towels. What could you use this for, guys? You could use this for buffing compound, heavy thick compound, because you can get at it and you're not worried about the finish so much. If it's a really soft paint and you're using, there's less cushioning on this towel than there is on this thick towel we'll talk about later on. So you're going to be putting more pressure with this towel, but it's going to be less absorbent than a big thick towel, okay? But you could use it for a sticky compound. You could use it for a finishing polish or an AOI, but again, when you're trying to finish out paint, that's when you tend to use slightly softer cloths, because the finishing polishes or AOIs buff off really nice. So these next two might be a slightly better option for this. Again, you could use it for liquid waxes or paste waxes, but less likely because it's not so absorbent. Detail sprays is an example of something they work really well with, because they don't stick, because they don't have these fibres. They don't stick, so they're nice for detail sprays. Ceramic buff is the big one, guys. A nice ceramic buff where you have a very thin, tiny layer that you just want to level. These bald wipes work great for that. You're not going to use them with waterless washes because the dirt sits on the surface rather than gets pulled into a pile. You could use them for cleaning duties. This is really important. If you've used them for ceramic, and this towel has been used for ceramic removal, you could then relegate it and use it as a rag for like drying your tyres. It's going to get decimated, but who cares, because it's not paintwork friendly after it's full of ceramic material. You could also use it for light cleaning on surfaces that aren't so sensitive. If you've got a detail out a van and it's got like a mucky, slimy dashboard that's covered in mud and grease, the fact that there's a bit of ceramic, maybe resin floating in there at some sort of microscopic level is not going to be a big issue. So you can get your money's worth out of these. And again, I'm not throwing this away. This will get used as a rag to wipe down my tyres to prep them. Okay, and this is $3.95, so that's decent value for for a Korean one. You're going to be able to beat the price for these, guys. If there's Chinese offerings that are might be £2 or something. So you're not. Let's just say here, you're not going to get rock bottom market prices, but you're also not going to get ridiculous prices. That seems okay to me. Next up, polish wipe 40 by 40. So this is a dual pile towel where one side is very similar to this pearl weave, or houndstooth as Levi calls it from the rag company. It's similar to that, almost like a terry cloth. The other side is like a closed loop. So you can alter the nap height on one side, but this side will always be flat. That's just the nature of the weave. So they're not quite the same on either side. So would you use different sides for different functionality? Well, you could if you really wanted to, but who can remember all that? You just grab it. So this is called a polish wipe cloth. So the clue's in the name. You're going to use this for wiping down compound. You're going to use it for fine polishes, AOIs, ideal for liquid waxes, ideal for heavy waxes that need a bit more buffing. You need a bit more strength than a softer open pile towel. It will work great for detail spray as well. It works great for ceramic buff. It really does. You could also use these towels with waterless washes. You can use these towels for light cleaning, even heavy cleaning, although you would do that again after relegation because they're too good for that. You wouldn't use these towels for glass. That you could potentially use for glass, but you're still probably going to pull the odd fibre out of it. That would be the best one for glass. You could use them to wipe down leather as well, but probably not ideal leather towels. So I've given you what generally these are and why. Next, we move on to the open pile cloth, guys. So this is called the soft wipe, and it's a 40 by 60. So I remember reviewing this thing about God knows how many years ago, about 6 years ago, in my best of microfiber video. We looked at every single one on the market. Now this is a soft cloth, guys. The only thing I don't like about it is the size. The 40/60 is not for me. Again, there'll be a reason. There'll be a particular way of holding it, I'd imagine. £5 is a great price for the size of it. I would love it to be 40/40, and then the price might come down. You'd lose, that's half the towel. So maybe the price would get down to like £3.50 or £4, and then it'd be a bargain. I'd definitely be interested in it. It's a really soft cloth. If I had two hands, see if we can do it on the camera, it's got a nice stretch to it. Very soft, and it's not closed loop. It's straight strands of microfiber, like a mop on both sides, and it's that mopping action and the density of the cloth. So, you know, the grams per square metre, the higher GSM, and the mopping action of all the fibres going around in circles, and that makes this the most absorbent towel, okay? So what would you use these soft towels for? Well, I don't think you'd use them for a really heavy compound that's like really stuck, because you'll probably, you run the risk of pulling fibres, although sometimes you can get away with it. Depends on the compound. You'd use it for a fine polish or AOI, a final finish wipe down. Absolutely, because they're nice and soft. There's tons of cushioning, tons of absorbency. You might use it with a liquid wax. Most paste waxes you could use it with, but not if they're really sticky and hard to buff, because you're going to pull fibres. So it needs to, you need to use this on a product where it's coming off nicely, ideally. Detail spray, I would suggest no. Some people would disagree with me, but the detail sprays, when they're wet and you hit dry bits of panel and stuff like that, again, you can sometimes pull fibres with these. That's better for detail spray, but you can use it for that. Ceramic buff, yes, but it tends to be a finishing buff, I think, with these. A finishing buff, although some might disagree. If the ceramic's nice and smooth, this makes a great finishing buff on a ceramic. Waterless wash, they're actually really good for waterless wash, but it just breaks my heart to think of filling these up with dirt. You know, you could say, well, if I've used it for ceramic, could I then use it for waterless wash? Well, probably not, because waterless wash is going to be on the paintwork. So some people will disagree with me there. I'm just giving you my thoughts on this. But I don't like the idea. I know that ceramic resin doesn't all come out of these towels when you wash them. Or that's my theory. Could you use it for light cleaning? I wouldn't, because you'll pull fibres if you're working it on dirt and stuff like that. Could you use it for destructive cleaning, like wheel arches and stuff? If you got ceramic resin in it, like you could scrub out your wheel arches with this afterwards, or probably even be fine on like the alloy, you know, cleaning stuff. So you could soak it out and then just destroy them after they've been full of ceramic. I like to use these for polish removal, and I wash them all in the same load. I really look after them. I keep the temperatures down. I don't frazzle them, and I find they last for years if you do that. Brilliant, really nice cloth that is, and the price is decent for the size. In fact, it's good for the size. And finally, you have this cloth here, which we talked about, and GYEON were one of the first to go with this type of cloth. The warp knit towel, which it just sucks up water, and these are twisted. They're called twisted loops. They never used to be called twisted loops. But it's about 6 years ago we were talking about these. Let me just go to camera. 6 years ago I first saw these, and I remember chatting to Imran from Into Detailing, who stocks all this GYEON stuff as well. And I'll put it all in the description if you want to get any of this stuff. Try code forensic for 10%. If it doesn't work, it's not discountable. 6 years ago, I said to Imran, these warp knit towels are really good. I really like them. They're gonna go big, but they should be double-sided, because then you get to use both sides. And there was no double-sided ones in the UK market at the time. I think GYEON might have something that was similar, but it wasn't as good quality as this, as far as I know. Correct, I might be wrong, but it was double-sided. This is single-sided, so the other side you don't use, as far as I know. And apologies if GYEON have changed it to double-sided. I don't think they have. Maybe that will come in future. Maybe it won't. Maybe they feel that it's lighter and more effective that way. But going back to that thing, going back to the double side, 6 years ago, before, you know, there was only 2 of these on the market. I said they were going to go big, and now everyone's selling them. It took about 4 years to go from back then to now them being widespread on the market. And I got one made by a Chinese company. If you see them all now, the double-sided ones, they're folded over and stitched. But back then, when I had one made, I got a suede edge put over the top of it, and just got it to try with the. This is even, I think, before, maybe even before the channel started. But I had it. It was on the channel. It was a green one, Chinese made. Wasn't quite as good quality as this, but not far off it. And I was just too lazy to take it to market and sell it. It's just too much hassle. If I had done, I'd have had a 4-year jump on the market. Anyway, there's a bit of random waffle. But I'm too lazy to go into business and I'm too old. The landing gear is down, not up. The landing gear is coming down. How much does this cost? $16.50 for the 70 by 90 version. So I hope in future GYEON do a double-sided one because I just like that. Now, here's the finale to this video. Be careful. Dart falls on me here. There's the finale. The finale to this video is I am obsessed with all this detailing stuff. And I was 6 years ago when I bought every single microfiber towel on the market that I could find. And then I went and did it all with these drying towels. Bought every single one on the market that I could find. Looking through, picking the best microfiber, picking the best ones and going through and doing that with all the products. No one was doing that at the time. Now everyone's doing it. Get my trumpet out, get my violin out. What I'm saying is not everyone's as stupid as me and as obsessive as me. And this is the difference between top drawer brands and good brands or really bad brands. Top drawer brands are obsessive about their ranges of products and quality. I'm not going to say anything other than I'm just going to show it to you. I'm just going to say Korean as well. We'll add the word Korean in there. And you know what I love? I'm going to speak again. GYEON are obsessive. Everything they do seems to be top drawer. So if you're not as into exploring it all as I am, you can just pick a brand, get their microfiber, and you know you are using the good stuff. So yeah, that's where I am with this. And I hope the video was useful as well as exploring the products, what you should use certain microfiber for and certain functions. More videos to come. I'm going to be revisiting this stuff. I was so impressed with it. I had a little tiny sample that we managed to do one car with, and I'm so impressed with it. I've gone and bought a litre of it. It's expensive, but it's really, really good. And I'll talk about that later on in another video, why it can be a really useful product for you. So that's it on microfiber, guys. Take care. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. All the best. Take care.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when